friends. Welcome to Flosstube and Variety Show number 160 something, maybe 165. And I'm Emily Williams in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and today is Friday, September 5th. My brother-in-law Richard's birthday. Happy birthday, Richard. I strongly doubt that he watches, but you never know. I've been surprised at a couple of family members who do watch. Anyway, so let me just say, I have been outside for a lot of the afternoon helping my husband put up a shed, a replacement shed, which of course, you know, you watch the YouTube video and it looks like it's going to take about an hour, and he's been at it since 10 o'clock this morning, I think. And it is 4 something this afternoon, so, and he's still out there. He's going to need me again in half an hour or so, but it's all right. So, you know, it takes longer than you think, but it's going to be very nice. The old shed leaked. That's the main problem with it. The door didn't work. This one will not leak immediately. It will eventually, I'm sure. And the door will work for the time being. That's just how it goes. So anyway, I'm a little discombobulated, and because of that, I'm sure that this will be a shorter than usual video. And whenever I say that, it never turns out to be that way. I find myself nattering on and on because I haven't planned well. But I'm looking at what's on the table. This isn't going to be very long. But Flosstube means cross stitch. Variety show means something else. We'll see what that is. I think that I'm about to show you everything I worked on this week. I didn't keep good notes, but I did work on Margaret Hutton. Hands Across the Sea. This was the piece for the workshop last May with Nicola Parkman at the Queen City Sampler Guild. And here's the whole thing. And what I worked on was over here. I can't remember if I had this berry basket finished the last time, but I did this. I'm pretty sure I didn't have that done. And I definitely finished these 2 little rosebuds made of queen stitches. So now it's all down to the bottom, and the bottom consists of some peacocks, some trees, this large floral arrangement, and her name in over 1, I believe, and the dogs and the rabbits. And I think these vertical hollyhock type flowers are, the red parts I think are queen stitches, which is fine. I actually enjoy them. And I like the way it looks. And I need to finish the border. You can see up here the border is done, but most of it isn't. The green part of the border is done everywhere, but the other colors are not. Every other flower is a particular shade of red and pink, and the other flower is a particular shade of sort of mauve and pink, different shade of pink. And also I still have some of the eyelet band to finish in there. Oh yeah, and there's a lot of crowns. I forgot, there are crowns everywhere that are over 1, under which are initials. And I had talked before about possibly replacing Margaret Hutton's initials. All of her relatives, many of her relatives seem to have first names starting with I. She's Scottish, so perhaps it's all Ians with my relatives, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that. I worked a little bit on Hannah Campbell. This was the Queen of the May 2024. Wow, I just love this. I didn't finish down here in this over one. I haven't done any more, no, over one, in this solid stitching. I didn't do any more of that, but I started up in this area for the September border section. And there will be the border in a flower pot like that, like this one down here. This area will be done in September. One more line of the over one verse, and you know, whatever I can manage of the solid stitching from below. The goal is to finish by March 1st, and several people have finished already. I've seen their posts. They've tagged me on Instagram or in Facebook. I love seeing all of your work. A couple of people have gotten to a certain point. My friend Ellen from the Queen City Sampler Guild has gotten to a certain point. She's going to finish, pick it up again in a few months and finish on March 1st. And I'm going to hopefully carry on and keep working on it and finish on March 1st. That's my goal. You know, it's a start along. It's not a rule. Nothing about it is a rule. Now, I also worked on, well, I worked on Under the Roof of Blue Ionian Weather, but I only did about 250 stitches because I decided that I wanted to figure out, of all the threads that I had pulled out to start that project back 5 years ago, almost. Yeah, not quite 5 years ago. And I had made up cards of blends where I had the, you know, the top, the two numbers that were blended together on the card. All of that, I had finished a lot. As I finished things, I would write UTR done on the card and set it aside. And I had set aside a lot of things. In fact, these are cards of blends that I have finished. There's about 35 blends in there that I've finished. And in addition to the blends, I finished probably 40 or maybe 50 individual colors in this. And I got my threads down from this whole box being over full, plus another box, which I can't show you because it's not within reach, with the blends in it. Now I've got it down to just this. And a lot of these, I would say 40 of these have fewer than 20 stitches left. Now, that means I should just whip through that. And I definitely could, but there are a couple of reasons that I'm not probably gonna do it. One is, when I get my hoop, see, I am showing it to you. I'm just not gonna take it out of the hoop. How about that? When I get the hoop in a certain spot, I wanna work on what's there, because now that it's full, so much of it is stitched. It's really, these hoops are barely big enough to go around them. That is the back of the hoop is fine. It's this front hoop part that grasps it that's hard to get over it. And so once I have the hoop positioned, I want to do a lot of work here. And so sometimes of 16 stitches of a particular color or blend that might be left, there might be 14 of them in here, and then 2 of them are up here. Well, those 2 are just going to have to wait, because I'm not going to take it out of the hoop in order to get up there and stitch those 2 and then reposition the hoop again. So anyway, it is coming down to the wire, not to the wire, it's coming down. I have 4,100 stitches left, just over 5%, 5.5% maybe left. So anyway, I am working on that, not fast. I started, this is the project for the class that Rae Niles of Red Barn Samplers is teaching. And the project is you take a piece of fabric, 2 pieces of fabric that are 4.5 by 9 vertically, and on the lower half of each of them you choose something and stitch it. So I'm choosing this for sure, and maybe this. And now those stitched areas become the front and back of a corner gauge pocket. And I presume we're going to be given a corner gauge. And I was working on this last night, and then I said, oh my goodness, I don't have much space. So I actually emailed Rae, and she so kindly answered very quickly. I think I have enough space. I didn't have enough space to do a hoop initially, so I was stitching in hand, which it's not the end of the world to have to stitch in hand for me. But I'm so much more comfortable with a hoop. So anyway, I have dangling threads and so on, but I'm just working on the little house with the fence. There's a tiny overrun dog. These are, I guess, birds. It's a nice tree there. This fence, interestingly, is dark blue. It's 931. And I was thinking, I sort of expected the fence to be a white picket fence. And perhaps, since I'm stitching on dark fabric, I could have changed it to white, but I've decided in my mind that it's actually a wrought iron fence, and so it would read as blue. So next time, I mean, I hope to have finished. I don't know if I'll finish this or not, maybe. And the other thing I worked on and finished and put in the mail, yesterday's mail, Leslie, was I stitched that Joy to the World ornament that Leslie created. I stitched that one again on different count fabric for her to have as an example. She has produced the pattern, which she sent me to look over. This is such a nice logo, Carillon cross stitch. This is St. Mark's current church. This is the old St. Mark's, which you remember I stitched. And I stitched this Joy of the World ornament now twice. Sent them to her. Isn't that pretty? This snow, that's the one. I haven't stitched that one. I guess I could because I have the pattern right here. That's interesting. Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, this class, I don't know if she's still accepting registrations for it, but I did do that, and I can't show it to you because it's gone, and I can't get it in there. Never mind. And I started the final panel. I didn't bring this out, but there's one more panel of this. I started it up here, then I read the directions, and I emailed Jane Greenoff and said, what do I really need as much space as it looks like you said? And she said, it'll be fine, and I decided I would rather take it out. So I took it out and I put in a new thread to mark where I'm going to start. So I'll start that again. But it's another panel, similar amount of stitching to this. It has a big 3 letters, 4 flowers, and a grasshopper and a couple of butterfly things in it. Oh, and it says, in praise of the needle on it. Anyway, I'm committed to working on that, so I'm sure that you'll see it next week with actual progress, more than just a ripped out area and a marking line there. Because I am now feeling that we are moving down, that we are downhill toward Swindon. A few of you are going. I know that a few of you who are watching this video are going, and I don't mean to alarm you, but time is passing. Okay, so Variety Show is more cross stitch. It's just cross stitch of different forms. I did work on, I finished this little bag. I don't think I had finished it last time, right? It's has some fabric that goes with the bird color. This is lucite cord that I made out of DMC 712, which is a good color to match what's going on here. It has a pale tone-on-tone fabric lining. It's a cute little bag. I have a few things that I'm going to put in it before I wrap it. This is my Smalls Exchange item. So if you're going to the retreat and you want this, then give me the wink, and I'll let you know how I wrapped it. Speaking of getting ready, I also finished my table gifts for the retreat. That involved being in my sewing room, which thankfully Cindy came over Sunday, and this is our second session of Emily getting organized up there. And there are two big things we accomplished. One was to clear out the pile of small batting pieces and bits of muslin that I had been saving in the corner of the room. I decided on a minimum size of batting because I have a particular purpose of me using batting scraps, so we sorted out and threw away things that were smaller than that, even though they might be useful for something. Batting exists. There's lots of it. I have access to miles of batting, various places. I don't need to save it in a heap. And then we also threw away most of the muslin scraps that were there. I discovered that I wished I had had muslin scraps because I needed to put a border on this fabric because it was too small. See? But that's all right. I had muslin up there. I cut some pieces off. It's all fine. If I had saved muslin scraps, I would never have used them. So you see, you never know. And then I was looking then I watched Rae Niles' latest Flosstube, which she rarely puts up a Flosstube. I don't know that she's done more than 2 in the past year. But she is going to be one of the presenters. She's the one who's doing this project. She's a delightful person, gives an interesting talk. We heard her last time. And so I watched her Flosstube. It wasn't very long. But one of the things she talked about was this little piece. And here's the antique, and here's the reproduction that's charted in here. This was something that a friend of hers showed to Jean Lee at the attic of that sampler symposium this year, so just a few weeks before Jean died. And Jean encouraged her to reproduce it. It's a nice little sort of beginner, sort of entry drug, gateway drug to samplers. And the person said, I don't know how to do that. And Jean said, well, maybe Rae Niles could help you. And so the person got in touch with Rae, and Rae charted it. And this is available for free on Rae's website, which is redbarnsamplers.com, I think. And so I downloaded it. And will I stitch it? Maybe. It's all cross stitch. It's strange what's happening down here. It sort of reminds me of the Jane Boyer 7-year-old, Jane Boyer 1831, which I'm still working on the chart for, or I'm not working on the chart, or it would already be available. Anyway, I downloaded it. And when I watched Rae's video, in the background was the antique of this sampler, which I had bought last year. So I spent some time this morning finding this chart. So pretty. That cherry border is so pretty. Now, the interesting thing about this is I bought this 2 years ago, I think. Does it have a date? 2024. So I bought it last year because I had met Rae in England 2 years ago. So I wanted to support her. And when I got the chart, I realized I am not stitching this because this line of alphabet is rice stitch and this line is eyelet. And at the time, I didn't know how to do those stitches, and I was intimidated enough that even though I love so many things about this chart, I decided I just am not going to. It's too nerve-wracking, so I won't do it. But I now know everything there is to know. about Rae stitch, especially. There's been a lot of Rae stitch in some things I've worked on, and my eyelet stitches are fine. I'm not intimidated. So now I'm sort of inclined to think of starting this. Maybe next year, though. It's interesting that her alphabet, she doesn't have a Z in this alphabet, and she stops after V, I think. T-U, there might be a V there, right there. And I think this is one of the pieces that Rae said there was some leftover stuff on the linen, maybe not this one. But the other interesting thing is if you look at how this verse is, you see these two flowers and you see how she had to cram in. So I think what happened is she was set to, she put the flowers in and she left space for the verse, not knowing exactly what she was going to put there. And then down here, there's 2 lines of verse, 2 lines on each side. It's 4 lines of this same verse carrying on. But it's kind of interesting how she had to squeeze that in. That'll be fun. Oh, also, here she's coming down on this border, and there's this tiny little cherry in there. Anyway, it's interesting. It's sort of interesting to put yourself in the place of the stitcher. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. But while I was looking for that, I came across, I guess I'll check this out because it's rattly. I mean, not rattly. It's, this is the antique. I really want to stitch this. I love the verse. And I love that this band across here is leaves, sort of an autumn colors. The verse is, dark the night and wild the wave, Christ the boat is keeping. Trust in him and have no fear, though he seemeth sleeping. I really like this. And the stitcher's name, Emily Bestwick, age 11, 1874. So I really want to do that. I'm not going to start it. I'm not going to start it yet. But you know, I came across it. It's very pretty. And I came across, now this I might start. Let me take it out of the wrapper. And as I was looking at it, I realized I know one of the reasons at least I didn't start it. So this is Awake My Soul by Aida. I think this is so pretty. And the reason I didn't, and I would like to do this on Dirty Teacup. I have 36 count Dirty Teacup. I think it'd be very pretty. Or maybe, we'll have to see what the flosses look like. Dirty Teacup is a warm brownish color, and I have a more gray color, a cooler, something by Fox and Rabbit, and I have a pinky in the pinkish direction that might work better. But I realized that one of the reasons that I didn't do it is because the chart is too small for me to easily read. The whole thing, which is 126 by 165, is on one sheet of paper. And that's just too, so what I will have to do if I decide I'm going to stitch this is take this somewhere and get it and enlarge it. So we'll see, but it's so pretty. And I love this, Awake My Soul and Sing. That's a beautiful hymn that is from, that line is from. So that is what I discovered when I was digging around. Oh, I also found Blackbird Home for the Holidays, which has the stockings, the sampler stockings. I want to do those. It's interesting, they're charted on 32 count, so the stocking is about this big. It's about 8 inches tall. And that's nice, I'm sure, but I might want to do it on 40 count or even 46 count in order to make cute little stockings. So I'll have to see. And of course, am I going to even do it? I don't know. We'll see. Certainly not in the next week. You will not see me start anything new in the next week because I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission. As I said, Byron's building a shed. I did say that, right? He's building a shed. Yes, I nattered on about that for quite a while. I have things to read. I should be reading for book club. What are we reading for book club? I haven't started it in our next book, which book club is in 2 weeks. I have time, plenty of time. Let's see what we're reading in book club. Let me just look for it. Okay, oh yes. We are reading The Botanist's Daughter by Katie Nunn. I don't remember anything about it. I hope it's good. Then for October, that's for September. For October, I will not be here for book club in October. We're reading Gaudy Night, which I'm so sorry to miss that. I mean, it's not that I can't read it anyway, but I think I suggested it. Dorothy Sayers. Gaudy Night is the first book in the Harriet Vane subseries of the Lord Peter Wimsey books. There are 4 books in the Harriet Vane subseries, and Gaudy Night is the first one. And the thing that I like about Dorothy Sayers' mysteries is they're intellectually interesting mysteries. I mean, it's not that they are completely rigorous. They're not. You should not fact check them. You'll find things that are mistakes. Like we read The 9 Tailors a few years ago, and I had read it. Byron and I read all of her mysteries when we were first married, 30, 40 years ago probably. There are definitely mistakes in them. 9 Tailors has some mistakes about change ringing, which you would think she would know about change ringing because it's a British thing. It's an English thing. I don't know if they have change ringing in Ireland and, Northern Ireland and Scotland and Wales. I think they do in Scotland, I would think. I would think they do in Wales. I guess I'll find out maybe. So anyway, Gaudy Night I'm gonna miss, but I better be reading The Count of Monte Cristo, which is our November book. We're reading an unabridged version of it, which is about 1,500 pages, maybe more, maybe 1,700 pages. I have started it. I've read it before. It's our classic for the year. It's something. It's quite a book. And when I did read it before, I didn't fully follow some parts of the storyline. So I am going to totally give myself permission to use Sparks Notes to help myself make my way through that book because it's enormous. Yep, and then December we have a party. So that takes care of the year for our book club. But anyway, I should be reading The Botanist's Daughter right now. I should start that as soon as I finish this video. I am still reading How Green Was My Valley, about Wales, about the mining season era of time in Wales. I'll finish it before our trip. I'm less than 100 pages from the end on that, so that'll be no problem. Although I think it's going to be sad. I think that's where we're heading on that storyline. So that is all I have to talk about. It's possible I stitched on something else that I have forgotten. I didn't keep good notes this week. It is possible that there are important things I should have told you, which I'm not remembering. I don't know, but this is it. I hope that you have a great weekend of stitching. Football has started, NFL football, which means for me, some stitching while I watch, also knitting and tatting and other things like that that are a little less all-encompassing of my mind compared to cross-stitch. Sewing room beckons. Cindy and I will make a video sometime. I'm gonna guess it won't be until November because that's just my guess. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe sooner than that. We are entering some things in the state fair. Perhaps I'll tell you about that in an upcoming regular Flosstube video. And I guess that is all. I hope you have a good week, as I said, and many blessings to you, friends.